Alright, what's up everybody? My name is James. Welcome back to my channel. TradeZone Week 2 B Race. This is for the Category 3 and 4 riders again. Same course as last week. 2 days before this race, it was forecasted to be 60 degrees and sunny, so we were really looking forward to that. But as you can see in the video, it is in the low 40s and it's wet. I think low 40s and dry wouldn't have been too bad, but the wetness definitely made it much colder because of the cooling effect. I did put out a video for week 1 of this training race series, and I want to say a quick thank you to everyone who watched that, liked it, commented, and there were a few of you out there who came up to me during week 2 here and thanked me for the video, so I actually really appreciated that. Some people sharing with me that they are learning about some race tactics through my videos and getting some enjoyment out of it definitely gives me a little bit of motivation to make some more of these videos, so yeah, that's been really cool. Alright, the field size today is a little bit over 60 riders. Relative to week 1, there was definitely more team representation this week. So the teams that were here were Fedhill, they had a handful of riders. DC Devo, the junior squad, they had another handful of riders. Redshift also brought out 4 guys, I believe. District Taco was here with, I think, 5 riders, and Gunner was here again. The reason I mentioned Gunner is because he was the winner from week 1. And then among the rest of the field, one rider that we wanted to keep an eye on was August from Total. You guys saw him in week 1 as well. And then our team, SLR, we had the same squad as last week, but we have Sean now, so we have a total of 6 riders in this race. Among the teams, the 2 teams that were the most active were DC Devo, which I anticipated simply because I guess juniors have that reputation of riding full throttle pretty much most of the race. And the other active team this week was Fedhill, with Justin Keefe being probably their key rider. Justin didn't race week 1, but he was here this week. When I talked with my guys before the race about what our strategy would be, seeing how a break of 5 stuck in the week 1 race, I figured that most people would think that a break would stick in week 2 as well. And if other teams were going to try to create a break, we were perfectly fine with that. But our plan was to follow moves and not to really initiate anything. And if we had the right guys from our team join a break with the right composition, we were definitely willing to roll it. But my role and a couple other riders on the team, for the most part, we were going to try to control the race as much as possible, in the sense that we would try to keep the pack together. And then at the end of the race, if we were all together as one peloton, we were planning to try to organize a lead-out train and try to get a result in the sprint. Generally speaking, because of the size of the field and because of the team representation that we had in this race, the dynamic of the race was very much 1 or 2 riders attacking, the pack following and chasing it down, and then another attack going with 1 or 2 riders, and then over and over and over again. That's pretty much how the entire race went. So in my opinion, it made for a slightly faster and harder race compared to week 1, and then we'll see how everything shakes out later in this race. Alright, we have about 30 kilometers left in the race, so that comes out to maybe about 40 minutes or so. So it's not a really urgent part of the race, but I do want to move up a little bit in the pack and just be ready for any moves that might go. There is a solo Fedhill rider off the front right now, and I tell Sean, I kind of shepherd him up to the front of the pack, and I wave him through. You'll see he thinks that means that he should take the front and pull back this Fedhill rider. So he's basically going to roast himself for the next minute or so on the front, pulling pretty hard. In my opinion, at this point in the race, that solo rider off the front really wasn't a concern for us. Yes, the pack might look at us and say, hey, SLR, you got to chase that back. But at the same time, if we're being smart, we probably don't have to do it because the pack is going to eventually catch a solo rider with 40 minutes left in the race. So I push up the left side of the train here, which is the sheltered side. But I'm still having to push a decent amount of power to get back up to Sean, just to yell at him and tell him to get off the front. Justin from Fedhill is on my wheel here, so he's doing a good job of positioning himself well for his team.
Sean! Sean!
And there he goes. So coming around corner 2, we were about to catch his teammate. So timing-wise, he does a good job of timing his attack so that he can go over the top of his teammate who's been off the front. As far as which section of the course he chose to attack, he probably could have gotten better bang for his buck if he had attacked after the downhill. But yeah, at this point in the race, I don't think he was attacking necessarily to stay away for the rest of the race. And we do end up bringing him back about a half lap later. All right, we hop forward to about 18 kilometers to go. This is about 8 laps to go in the race. And as we come through the start-finish line, there are a handful of riders that go off the front, and then a couple more that are attacking to chase that down. We don't have any riders in that move, so I have to put in a dig here, and I got to follow the wheels. And we eventually stitch it back up. Fedhill was also not in this move, so Justin was actually on my wheel. So Justin does a good job of staying in the draft and then putting an attack over the top here. I was able to get on his wheel pretty immediately. As Justin very courteously lets me know that there are some manholes and other things in the road. After noodling a little bit, you'll see this DC Devo Jr. attack on the left side. Justin from Fedhill sees it pretty immediately, so he hops on the wheel. Ben from our team, he was on the left, and he saw that move go. And I think he hesitated. So what he did was he hesitated, and then he ended up doing the work anyway. So he actually just made some more work for himself. In my opinion, either Ben should have reacted immediately and hopped in the draft, or after hesitating, I think it would have been better for him to realize that there was going to be a gap and maybe just let 1 or 2 riders come around him to give him a little bit of a draft during the chase. All right, we're coming through the start-finish line with about 7 laps to go. There is one DC Devo Jr. up the road. I have a quick little chat with Ben here.
I'm here, Ben. No need to overreact, okay? Just follow everything.
Yeah, we still have 7 laps left to go, so I didn't want him to overreact to things and kind of panic, because I didn't want him to waste too much energy, especially after what I saw before. And at this point in the race, it really seemed like the race was going to finish as one group instead of a break actually sticking, so I think mentally I was preparing for that. All right, with about 6.5 laps to go, you can see that there's a rider on the right here that we have lapped. There is a reason that I'm pointing that out, and I'll share that a little bit later in the video. All right, less than 6 laps to go. I think this is the only crash of the day. So if you look in the rear camera behind me, pack is moving left a little bit, and we're all shifting. Yeah. The guy was riding the yellow lines. There were cones there, so he ends up hitting the cone. I think he was kind of stuck in between whether he should go left or around the cone momentarily, but there were cars on the other side, and he probably wanted to avoid that. So I think just indecisiveness, probably got stuck in the middle there between Daryl and the car. Yeah, I hope he's okay. It didn't seem like he was too badly injured, maybe. But all right, 12.1 kilometers to go. District Taco rider on the right sends an attack. You know, honestly, I don't know why people are attacking on this downhill. It's such an advantage for the people in the pack having such a big draft at a high speed. But anyway, I follow the move because I see Sean on the other side. He was getting up to follow it, and I immediately hopped into his wheel. So yes, I did a little bit of a dig, but at the same time, I was still conserving some energy by just being there. And if you remember, my role is to be in service of the team, so this is kind of my responsibility as well. And coming up here after corner number 3, this is actually a good reason as to why you want to be as conservative as possible with your power, because you really have to be able to follow things when the time is needed. Justin from Fedhill comes around. He puts in an attack. Again, this is definitely a better place to put in the attack just because we're going to start going uphill. Sean gets up. I get up. So we are digging pretty hard. I see that Sean's fading a little bit. I don't want to go around him just because Justin is off the front now by himself. I'm a little bit gassed too, so I don't want to spend the rest of my energy following that. With 5 laps to go, it isn't a huge threat in my opinion for a solo rider to be off the front, despite the fact that Justin is really strong. But yeah, the plan is to just keep him in sight, and sure enough, DC Devo rider injects some pace into the pack. I tell Kyle and Ben to follow, and we're all lined out in the draft again. Coming through corner 2, you see that Justin still has a little bit of a gap. I think the DC Devo rider who initially put in that attack, I think it might have been Eli. He eventually makes it up to Justin's wheel, and then they are going to roll turns together and try to stay away. Now, at this point in the race, with a DC Devo rider and a Fed Hill rider up the road, I was telling my guys, particularly Ben here, that if there are any moves that go, we absolutely have to follow those, especially because there are only 4 laps to go now. Alright, we've hopped forward to about 4.7 kilometers left in the race. We are coming up on 2 laps to go. During the pre-race, when I talked to my guys, I said, hey, by the time we get to 2 laps to go, we need to be somewhat forward in the pack altogether. So I actually need to expend some energy to move up because I was out of position. I think his name is Ben from Redshift. He's on the front here. He is taking a pretty fat pull. So he is definitely doing some work on the front for his team, for the pack, just to reel these 2 guys in. I think they have maybe 11, 12 seconds on us still. I still wasn't too concerned that we wouldn't catch them just because once the pack gets going in the last 2 laps, we can definitely make up ground really quickly. But apparently people on the sideline and other people in the pack, when I was talking to them after the race, they were actually thinking that the break would stick. All right, here we are with about 3.5 kilometers left in the race, so this is about 1.5 laps to go. DC Devo has been doing a pretty good job of just being near the front, not chasing their teammates back. Evan in that blue kit there is from Miller School. He gets on the front here. He gets up out of the saddle and he starts attacking down the hill from the front. Yes, he may be a heavier rider and the downhill may favor him, but at the same time, at those speeds on the downhill, a lot of people are just benefiting from the draft there. I actually did share with him after the race that was probably just a waste of energy on his part, especially because attacking from the front is really just a telegraphed move to everybody, and you can't get any separation from the pack. So we've heard it all before. When you attack, you want as much speed differential as possible, so you want to really come around the pack at speed so that you can get a pretty immediate gap. And what that does is that it forces people to do more work to have to chase you down, or it just discourages them entirely from following because there's a gap. All right, so for the rest of the race, we are going pretty fast. We are pushing pretty hard. All right, with about 1.8 kilometers left in the race, Ben, Kyle, and I are in decent position here. We are within maybe the top 10 wheels or so. On the right side, it looks like Sam. Yeah, I think that's Sam from Equip. He sends an attack, honestly, when the pace is already really high, so he's really not going to get much separation at all. So we are all pushing here. Kyle and Ben are right in front of me. Kyle slots in front of Ben, and then I slot behind Ben here.
I'm on you, Ben.
There's a DC Devo rider going backwards here, and Ben has to squeeze a little bit. So any loss of momentum really hurts at these speeds.
Push, Ben, push.
All right, here I sense we're a little bit too far back. It's my job to help out Ben and Kyle as much as possible. So I pop out into the wind on the left here.
Follow me on the left. Go, Kyle.
Honestly, I'm not feeling very good right now. This definitely hurts. I'm trying to push up the left side here. There's an injection of pace on the right side of the pack, so we start getting swallowed up a little bit. Kyle does a good job of pushing up here. Rishab from Redshift slots in front of me. Ben, unfortunately, kind of falls back. He lost a couple wheels, and then if you lose a couple wheels before this final corner, you're pretty much gone, especially if you're in that position. So I'm a little bit too far back here, too. But here we are getting a nice draft. I'm still pushing over 450 watts in the draft. And I make the decision to go right here, slingshot past these guys. I have really good momentum, and then everything fans out here. Trey is going backwards, so I got to move to the left. I had to sit back down. And like I said, once you lose momentum, it's pretty much over. So I decided to just shut it down and let a few guys roll around me. Yeah, and I think I finished 8th. Alright, we're going to go back and re-watch the last lap of this race for two reasons. One, because I want us to take a look at the footage through the lens of me being a domestique to the team. So, as a helper to Ben and Kyle in the last lap. And there's a very critical moment, actually, where I made a huge mistake, and we're going to learn from it together. The other reason is because if you see the lap rider that I mentioned before, his name is George. He's actually behind me. So during the race, I was unaware of the fact that he was really lapped because I was just paying attention to the race. But it was after the fact that it kind of came up that it was an issue, mainly because of the USAC rule that follows. USAC Rule 3C3 says in individual road races, a lapped rider must not interfere in any preem sprint or finishing sprint. Unfortunately, he did. So honestly, most of us might not have known. I'm going to give George the benefit of the doubt and say that he didn't really know that this was an actual rule. So I'm pointing this out so that we can all learn from this. If you are ever in a road race and you are lapped because you got dropped off the back or something like that, just know that you are really no longer eligible for preems and for a finishing result. So I'm guessing it's because of safety reasons, but also in fairness to the other riders who are actually in contention for a good result. You know, it's just one of those things where you want to just be way in the back of the pack, not really contesting anything. And just to be clear, I'm not trying to disgrace or shame George in any way. Maybe it was an honest mistake. But either way, moving on. The big mistake that I made is coming up right here. Even though I was pretty gassed at this point in the race, I should have just expended every last ounce of energy here to just move everybody up the left side. So Kyle and Ben would have been able to hop on my wheel. I could have probably gotten in front of Evan there in the blue jersey, and Ben and Kyle would have honestly just avoided being swarmed here. So if I had just gotten out of the saddle and done maybe like a 15-20 second sprint at 600-700 watts or something like that, I definitely could have brought them up and then just peeled off on the final corner and just let them do what they need to do with the rest of the pack. So that was totally my fault. In the future, if I'm ever in this situation again, that's how I have to think. Honestly, I haven't had too much experience with the role of being a domestique, but I do know that, you know, some domestiques, their job is done well before the finish line. And that's really how I should have thought. So yeah, I definitely need to learn from that. Anyway, you can see that Kyle did a really great job of navigating the finish, just being there. He actually ends up getting, he ends up getting fourth, but it's actually third because George, who ended up getting, I think, second there, was later taken out of the results and he was relegated, and I think that made Kyle third. So back-to-back weeks, Kyle's done really well. He's gotten second and third. But yeah, this racing stuff with a team is really, really fun. I think playing the domestique role is equally, if not even more fun maybe, than getting an actual result for the team. But yeah, I definitely have to learn how to do that better. It's definitely a different mentality. All right, thanks for watching. I don't think I'll be able to do TradeZone Week 3, unfortunately, but there will be races later that I'll do in the season, so I hope everyone out there is having fun racing, learning a lot, and I'll see you guys out there. Peace.